Moana is basically at this point officially a box office block. Doomsday is going to be running for 2 hours and 45 minutes. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, will it actually be a hit? And finally, Spider-Man Brand New Day officially takes place 4 years after the events of No Way Home. Welcome back to the Pool Deck Podcast, or just, Studio E Productions. I am the E in Studio E. This is my studio and this is my production. So here we go. We're going to be talking about movies today. Now, everyone loves a good movie, a blockbuster, at home, in a theater, on a TV, on a giant theater in the middle of nowhere. It just doesn't matter. Everybody loves a good movie. And there are quite a few movies coming out or have come out in the recent weeks. And so we're going to start with one that looks like it is slowly or is a flop. And so that would be Moana, specifically the live action version. Now, let's start the story back in about 2016, where the animated version came out and was honestly a roaring success. Everybody loved Moana. Girls loved it. The soundtrack was amazing. This was Dwayne Johnson, honestly, at a peak. Everybody loved his performance as Maui. The soundtrack was incredible. And it came at a time where Disney was slowly switching into their live, I would say, probably around then they were slowly doing their live action remakes and stuff. And honestly, it was a really cool breath of fresh air, and I thought it fit perfectly into their animated Disney princess, lineup and theme and everything. But they decided to do a live action remake. Now, if you don't know much about Disney or Disney movies, the live action remakes, with maybe a few exceptions, have not really gone well. People haven't really enjoyed them. Me personally, the only one that I've truly enjoyed so far is Aladdin. I think a lot of that was the director, Guy Ritchie. I really enjoy his movies. I am a big Guy Ritchie fan in his movies, and I think he did a very outstanding job on that movie itself. However, you look at, Jungle Book, Cinderella wasn't bad. Beauty and the Beast was okay as well, but Jungle Book was not very good. Mulan, I think, was only okay. There was a lot of controversy surrounding that one for a lot of reasons. And overall, people just did not enjoy the live action remakes as a whole. So it was a quite interesting decision when Disney decided, this movie that we've released on us, basically within the last decade or so, we're going to do a live action remake of this, especially when, let's think about it, Dwayne Johnson is bald, and you have to somehow make him have hair. That was one of the first things, when I heard this news release, that was one of the first things, it's not going to work just based on that, because no one is going to look at that and be like, oh my word, I want to watch this movie, where they have to obviously fake something with one of the actors. And I just think that was the start of it. But again, this was something that I had my doubts about. It was this and How to Train Your Dragon, the live action remake. I think the live action remake for How to Train Your Dragon was outstanding, but for this one specifically, I was like, this could go very, very south. And at this point, it is proving true. It has not put up good numbers. It had $250 million budget, and it definitely has not put up that numbers at the box office, only bringing in about 95 million, I think domestically, and maybe I think it's 60 million domestically, 95 million globally, and it just hasn't gone over well. What is the reason for this? Well, one, it is harder just to go to a movie theater now due to just the cost of life and living. Prices are just going up everywhere for a lot of reasons, and it's just hard to go to a movie, especially to see one where it's come out so recently and no one really cares to go back and watch it again. Especially with a live action like that, because in a lot of Disney movies, there is a sense of, fantasy and mysticalness to it, but it can't be very real. I'd say in Beauty and the Beast, they have a giant beast in it, and that hypothetically should not work for a live action remake. And that movie, they did an outstanding job with it. However, when you look at Moana, just all the things they would have to do in live action, you've got the crab, you've got the sea, you've got, the coconut enemies, you've got all these giant gods, there's just so many different things that at some point it's like, does this actually work as a live action remake? I think that was the point that it came up against The Lion King, is they looked too real to actually work as a movie, where in the animated one, it's fun because they don't always look real. You can, you show facial expressions, you can do this, you can do that with it, where in the live action one, they look like real lions, so they can't have the same facial expressions, same, I wouldn't say charisma, but same go-to with as they can with the animated version. Honestly, I think that was a problem with it. Two, I think another problem with the Moana live action remake is Disney hasn't exactly been on a hot streak with movies recently. Now, I know Toy Story 5 has been pretty has been received well, in a wide range of places. And so I suppose that's Pixar though, but that's wow. But Disney has not been on a hot streak, and so it's just like, do we really want to go pay to, see this in theaters when we could honestly probably just see it later, see it at like not even in theater, you could just wait for it to release on Disney Plus, get it as a disc or anything. And so that was, I think, another reason why it finally, like, people just did not go to it. And finally, people again are just tired of live action remakes. Just leave the movie as it is. Stop giving us sequels. Stop giving us non-new ideas. We want something new. But on the topic of newness, let's talk about Christopher Nolan. I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan. I think he is a great director. I think he has done some incredible work. However, The Odyssey is in fact receiving some backlash due to its casting decisions, especially when you have, especially that one Greek warrior who's a little bit, a little short there. Do I think this is going to affect the movie? To a certain extent, yes, I do think it will affect its box office rating. There will be a decent chunk of people that will not show up to that movie. However, I think the name pull of Christopher Nolan alone will keep this movie afloat. Now, there is a lot that seems like it's going to go wrong. Casting, it doesn't seem like the dialect is quite right. I've heard people complain about that. I've heard... casting's the biggest one, though. I've heard things about the adaptation, and people don't always like the book because there's different versions. People can write different versions of the Odyssey, and so apparently the book that they adapted the script, they based the script on, it isn't like the most popular version of the Odyssey, which could be interesting. And another one is the cast in it. There is some fatigue from those actors such as Zendaya and Tom Holland to a certain extent. They have been in a lot of movies. It's coming up to the Pedro Pascal where it's like he is in every single movie that you see, and at what point do you just get tired of this? And so I think we're slowly approaching that point with those two actors. Don't get me wrong, I think they are both incredible actors and I love their works, but I am saying there is the potential for that happening. And so with that being said, where are we at on the movie? I think that overall it will bring in a solid box office haul. I don't think it's going to be as big as people probably initially expected to be just due to the controversies. I think honestly it'd be really cool to be proven wrong. I think it would be a good movie, especially I think Christopher Nolan will do a great job with whatever he does. I think he's just got a certain touch as a director like that. I think, and honestly, I may go see this in theaters, and I will definitely see it when it comes out of theaters, barring like horrid reviews. Like if horrid reviews come out about it, probably not. But at the moment, I do plan on seeing it either in theaters or like as soon as it comes out of theaters. So there's that for you. Now, let's move on to one of the biggest franchises in movie history. We've got Marvel, of course, and Spider-Man Brand New Day. I'm actually really hyped for Spider-Man Brand New Day. I don't think I've seen anything surrounding it where it's been like, oh my word, this is going to go wrong, this is going to be bad. I've seen this positivity and hype so far. I've read some news sources saying that this will officially take place 4 years after the events of No Way Home. The trailers look sick. The cast and the directors seem super excited about it. And honestly, just looking at those trailers, it has been a outstanding thing to see. Just, the Hulk attack, the dynamics playing out between Peter, Ned, and MJ. Like, you can tell that he still really loves his friends, but they just don't know anything about him. The little scenes, the frame by frames that you could go through to like try to pull everything out. I think this movie is going to be sick. I think that this could be movie of the summer. It's coming in at the very end, I believe, July, if I'm correct. Yeah, July 31st. This could be movie of the summer. I can't wait to get into the reviews, read stuff like that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it just because I am busy and don't really have, But yes, I'm so excited for that. And apparently, the meaning of Brand New Day will only be shown in like the last couple frames. It is also known to have only one post-credit scene leading into Doomsday, which is leading into our final part of today's video, Marvel Doomsday, which will have a 2 hour and 45 minute runtime, is what I have read so far. That is okay. I think that in this movie, this seems like it is going to be the great reset of Marvel. I've talked about this on other channels before. This isn't the first place where I've done movie talk, but it seems like Doomsday will be Marvel's great reset, where they are taking all their heroes, all their cast, and because of the failures of the previous phases, they need to restart and redo everything. And so you've got to set that up with a proper amount of runtime. 3 hours may seem long, but just the amount of actors that they have in it, the amount of things that I've seen about it, the trade, everything, I think 3 hours is probably the right time for it, and I definitely think people will go pay to see that. I really, really want this to succeed. Infinity War and Endgame were such cinematic, just like, like everything's already been said to say about it, but I do really want this to succeed. I want a cool restart, a great movie, especially because Marvel has fallen on hard times recently, and it'd be cool to see, Marvel or Star Wars get a step up. Star Wars, they're struggling a bit. We got a new movie coming out next spring, the Ryan Gosling movie. But it'd be cool to see at least one of those franchises get back up. And if that's Marvel, let's do it. Let's see them bring it back. Old heroes. I don't care, nostalgia bait. Give it to me. I just really want a solid movie with good plot, good action scenes. None of this stupid, like Marvel, just like where they just get in their own way. Give us, what made Marvel initially great, and like the first Marvel movie, the first Avengers movie, and Infinity War and Endgame. Let it happen. Figure it out. Sort all the kinks. I don't care if that's retconning stuff. Just get it all sorted out. But yes, that is what we're looking at in the movie so far. If you want more in-depth reviews and talking about each one of these movies, please comment down in the section below about which movie or new movies that you'd like me to talk about in general. Please consider leaving a liking and subscribing. Studio E Productions is going to have a wide range of stuff, from podcasts on sports, movies. There's going to be some real life videos like Tag and Hide and Go Seek and stuff like that. So again, vlogs, leave a like, subscribe. Tell me some movies that you'd like me to go in depth on and maybe potentially review. I'm willing to go back and review old movies and review new movies coming out. But overall, thank you so much for watching, and peace.